Hello and welcome everyone. We are starting a new series or a new playlist on my channel to have a little bit of different content as well. A lot of you guys are here for towing related stuff, tractor related stuff, land work related things, but another part of my recreational life that I don't talk about very much is sailboats. And I've been racing sailboats, specifically these sailboats, for a very long time. Not necessarily this one, but this will be the subject of our YouTube endeavors relating to Tartan Tens. I want to talk a little bit about this Tartan Ten that we're going to bring home and do some work to and hopefully get it ready to be used. This one came from Lake Tahoe, so it has not seen the water since it was in Lake Tahoe. 100% of its life was spent in Lake Tahoe. My dad befriended a guy who owned it, who was having engine trouble, and for many years my dad and I corresponded with him and sent him different engine parts and things like that and grew a friendship with him. As it turned out, he had passed away, and my dad bought the boat, or however he procured it. I don't know how that worked out. It wasn't my business. So we have another Tartan 10, which nobody wanted evidently in Lake Tahoe. So we brought it back home from, my dad went and towed it home with his manual trans Cummins back to Michigan from out west. And it is here now. What we need to do is we need to go through it, and we need to find out what components are in the boat working. We'll get the engine fired up. We're going to look at what halyards. I'm told that it still has cable to rope halyards, which those will be removed because cable halyards suck. We're going to go through the standing rigging and see if it's any good. Make sure the shrouds are good. Being that it's only been on Lake Tahoe, so it's only been a freshwater boat, I imagine that it's going to be in really good shape. I'm excited to see it. We're going to go through and look. This is an original Tartan 10. This is the way that they came. You can tell that because it still has, well, I mean, there's many things. There's 6 winches. They have two compasses on them, and then they have these vents in the front, which are terrible because when you're beating into big waves, water comes through those vents. So one of the things we're going to do is sand the boat, repaint it, fill up those vents, because that's definitely necessary. There's some lead weights in the boat that you remove because there's no reason to have lead weights in the boat. And that was for, as far as I know, one design racing, and probably for pitching moment and things like that. Well, we remove those things to make the boat faster. So this has all original things to it. What's interesting about it is that it has, from what I can tell, sort of a hard racing bottom. So it must have been repainted with a very expensive hard racing bottom. We talk about towing a lot on this channel. This is our hull number 278. I don't know what hull number this is. We will definitely find out. Tahoe only, 2023. The interesting thing about it is that this has a longer rudder. Someone put a different rudder. It looks to be a little skinnier and a little bit longer than the original Tartan 10 rudder, which is right here. So that is an interesting difference. You can definitely tell that that rudder is longer, which I think Lake Tahoe is really deep. It is similar length to the keel. I mean, it's a little bit shorter than the keel, but it's similar length. It's definitely got a skinnier profile this way as well. So it'll be very interesting to see the performance differences between the two boats. Over time, with One Design Racing, we have modified and changed the layout of these boats to better suit One Design Racing with generally 5 or 6 crew. They were originally designed to be day sailor boats for families, so originally be able to run with 2 or 3 people, and originally they were crewed 6 or 7 people. With One Design Racing these days, given the size of the boat, we generally do it with 5 or 6. So we set up the boat for racing it the way that we're going to race. So this boat is an example of fully record, not heavily modified in terms of everything is measured. The rudder is exactly to spec. The keel, the mast, where the mast step is, everything is to the spec of the Tartan 10 fleet. But what we do is we optimize the deck layout, and we improve the strength of the boat when we recore them and put new balsa in and new fiberglass. To my knowledge, this is an unmodified as they came Tartan 10. These are the original stripes that would have come on the boat. Unfortunately, the front is pretty faded, but the original T10 logo, it's very cool to see the original with the slightly modified, and we'll go inside and look at the heavily modified version. I want to note really quick the fact that both these boats have full transoms on the back. That's something that we modified on our ORC modified Tartan 10. Now, talking about trailers, which we talk about on this channel a lot, this is an example of a spread axle trailer, which allows you to get the keel down lower. And I'm looking at this. Someone put a 4x6. I didn't go to Lake Tahoe to pick it up. The entire point of this trailer is to be able to drop the keel down lower, and somebody put a 4x6 underneath the keel, which entirely defeats the purpose of the drop setup. I was wondering why it sat so high, so that's very stupid. If you look at our boat, this trailer we've taken to Cincinnati, Menor, Chicago, Mackinac. This trailer's been down to Florida several times, St. Pete. This trailer has stub axles, so they are short little 8-lug stub axles. I'm sure they're 7K axles. And then the keel is able to be dropped below the axle center line. And on this trailer, we have not a spread axle setup, which is nice. You don't scrub your tires off so bad. But there is a little bit more tongue weight because the front axle is a little bit farther back than that one that has the axle pull forward. So when we talk a lot about towing on this channel, a lot of my background history came from towing this boat to many different races on that trailer. As you can see, it's fairly large. It has an integral ladder, which is really cool. This was built in Sarnia, Canada by Tony Shepard, who is an excellent boat builder in Sarnia, and he also has built trailers, and this is an example of, in my opinion, an excellent sailboat trailer. It has permanent bunks as opposed to the screw down bunks. The difference with that is if you're modifying or you're working on the boat, you can drop one bunk at a time to be able to work underneath it. So repainting your boat, you can go around and repaint the entire boat. The problem with this is because those are permanent bunks, what you do is you paint the whole boat, and then you bring it to go put in the water, you lift it, and you leave it on the straps for a night, and you paint underneath where those went. So what our long-term goal with this is I would like to have a boat to play around with on Lake Huron. We have an extra boat, and I think for reasons of continuing on the legacy of the gentleman who had it before, I think it needs to get back in the water, and I think it needs to go racing. I would like to see a One Design event, so if anybody's watching this and is watching it because they like Tartan Tens, which I hope to spread the word about the fleet. This fleet, the Tartan Ten fleet, was once extremely popular in Detroit. We have lost a lot of Tartan Tens because of people upgrading to bigger boats, more comfortable boats, because Tartan Tens have their limitations of specifically comfort. They are very fast boats. They're very safe boats. They're not as fast as a modern hull design. They are equally as safe, though. What they also lack is interior comfort. If you're tall, like me, they're extremely uncomfortable to get dressed in heavy seas. They have a porta-john as opposed to a real bathroom, so you have no privacy and getting geared up in bad weather. Cooking is a little bit more of a challenge. However, on our ORC boat, we're talking about putting a propane swing stove in, which would give us an oven and a stove instead of using a swing coffee pot, basically with a burner under it. That's one thing that we've done to adapt. Some people put grills on their back pulpits. We don't do that because it would add 50 pounds to the boat that we don't want to have. This has always been my favorite boat. We call it, well, it's hull number 278, so we usually call it 278, but it has in my opinion, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's white on black, and it just has a really cool battleship look to it, I think. It's not gray. I know the light kind of makes it look gray. It is definitely white on black. It was originally painted a beautiful wine red with 2 white stripes running down the length of the boat, wider than those stripes. On the very first race that this boat went out on, after it got fully recored and beautifully painted with excellent, beautiful paint, a competitor swung their boat after they were told you have an overlap, don't turn, and he struck the boat right there and cracked the hull about 3 feet long, so we had to record again. And by the time we cut, when you have 3 feet of damage, if you cut say 4 to 6 feet out of it to fix it properly, you may as well repaint the boat. So this is all, my dad painted this. It is like car paint white, and it's held up excellently for probably 10 or 12 years now. I've done probably 6 Mackinacs on this boat. We'll go inside and look at tenacity. I did my first 3 Mackinacs on that boat, and we ended up selling that boat. We got it back, but we'll go take a look at tenacity to see the ORC'd out Tartan Ten, which has been modified to race the Port Huron to Mackinac race. These boats have an excellent following in Chicago and Ohio. There's really good fleets in Menor and Cleveland. And there's a lot of racing that goes on in Lake Erie with Tartan Tens, One Design Racing. We have our national championship, which happens once a year, and it rotates between Wisconsin, Ohio, and Michigan. There's a lot of Tens that come up for that. So for One Design Racing, Tartan Tens are excellent, but in Detroit, they've kind of seen a little bit of a falling off because of their comfort level. level. They're not seen as a ritzy boat, if you want. They're kind of looked at as a lowly boat, which is crazy because like in Chicago, where it's a very ritzy community, they're looked at as an incredibly competitive one design fleet, which they are. So it's tragic to see Tartan Tens fall off, and I want to try and give Tartan Tens a little bit of love because I've sailed tens of thousands of miles on Tartan Tens. They have kept me alive in nasty, horrible storms. We've had a ton of fun racing them, both on long distance races and windward, leeward, short races, and they are a wonderful boat. I'm hoping to modify True Luff into, or improve it to today's standards, put in some modern running gear, check and see how the winches are going to perform, the cleats, and make sure that we don't have any squirrely deck layout. I'm curious to see, because I've never even been on the boat, how the boat has been modified over the last 30 years. These boats were originally designed in the late 70s, and their production went on to like 84 or 83. They were they had a cruising brother, the Tartan 33, which is the same boat with a big doghouse on it, which has windows and more comfort, which I'm sure is a great boat. And then in the mid 2000s, I'm going to guess 2010-ish, 2008, 2010, Rich Stearns and another guy, something Larson, I don't know his first name, they came out with the LS10, the Larson Stearns 10, and it was a new production. They took a Tartan 10, they made a plug, and they built a whole brand new boat with brand new fiberglass, new epoxy, the best of everything. And they had, if I remember, they had like a swim platform. Instead of a cutout like we did, they had a little bit of a depression in the back, so at least you had a place to step on the back of the boat, which was very nice for both recreation, for swimming, and also for safety, so someone could get back in the boat easier if they fell off. And they also had a little bit of a doghouse going on, so a little bit more room down below. We're going to, with the ORC boat, Tenacity inside, we're going to hopefully, when we fix it from our mast incident, we're going to put a keel step mast on it, and we're going to make a little bit of a doghouse. If you're into sailing like a Mum 30 has, or a Far 40, a little bit of a humped doghouse, no windows, but a hump just to give us a little bit extra room. I'm hoping that we're going to hide the winches a little bit behind that, so when the water comes up over the boat, it kind of flies over top of the cockpit, so it doesn't so easily go down the cockpit. We'll have a new lazarette set up so that less water comes in the boat. The original design, which when we go through True Luff's layout, the hatches leave a little something to be desired. So we're going to try and find a better solution for that on True Luff, because I can't stand the way the Tartan Tens were originally designed in that way. And then on Tenacity, which is our Mackinac boat, which is optimized for the ORC rules, we're going to try and find a little bit better way, especially since when the mast came down, we broke the deck, and the deck is going to have to get fixed. And so we're going to fix the deck, and at the same time, we're going to make it better like we always do. So there's several weak links of these boats. I have already taken my knife and tapped out True Luff. Honestly, it feels pretty good to me. I don't know the history on it. If anyone is from out west and you happen to have known more about, maybe you're a crew on this, feel free to comment. I have tapped this boat and I don't hear anything bad. A common place, what you do is take a knife and you're looking for it not to go, oh. You want it to sound hard. That's a common place right here. It's a common place. That all sounds good to me. Underneath the motor is another common place. Now you can use a water meter too. That might sound a little squirrely. Everything else sounds good besides that though. Now, I didn't get in here because the boat was in the way. See how that sounds very, versus that might be a little bit of a questionable spot, but it's not really going to hurt anything right now. This back part isn't cord. This is just fiberglass back here, so this will sound different than the rest of the boat. They have an inboard single-cylinder Ferrymann diesel engine, which is a very cool engine. This one, I think, has an L30, so hopefully it's a, oh boy, we're going to need to rebuild that. This bushing in here could probably, I have a method to get this out. What I do is I take a saw blade from a hacksaw and I cut several grooves in it, and then I take a flat blade screwdriver and a hammer, or you could use a chisel if you wanted to be, more correct. And what I do is I hammer it apart to break it, and then once you break one of the sides or one of the fingers that you cut a little bit, it generally will collapse enough that you can then hammer it out. So that's my method for that. This needs to get resealed, but this is bolted in the boat, feels strong, so we're good there. There's packing up in here. The water intake for the engine is right there, which looks a little bit, that might deserve to be, looks like it's had a hard life. We're gonna look and see if we can improve that. Commonly, if a bushing goes bad, the prop will come up and smoke the boat. See how there's a couple spots like that? That's interesting. Maybe they had something go bad at some point. Generally, that's evidence of this bushing getting really floppy, but this prop needs to get, so there's a company, I think it's called, well, I gotta remember what it is, but they build up and re-shim these so that they're less floppy. So that's something to do. The nice thing about this trailer too, as we're talking about different things for trailers, is the back of the trailer comes out to protect the rudder a little bit. Now, if somebody smokes you, they're still gonna break the rudder, but it's nice to have the lights out where everyone can see it. Now, one of the things I'd like to do at some point is kind of restore this trailer a little bit. It's had a lot of miles. When we go down and race in Florida back in the day, we were going down in December. So, ice, snow on the way, and sometimes January. So, wintertime. So, we'd be driving through Michigan and Ohio winter to get there, salt on the road. So, this trailer has seen a life. So, we're going to have to, I would like to redo this trailer a little bit. It's been in boat yards and gets bent. I think that happened in Ohio. At one of our, and probably at Cleveland. I think I remember that happening. But anyway, we're required to have, this is our exhaust outlet. They're all like this. On our ORC boat, we've capped this off and we put the exhaust out the back. Number one, we can see the exhaust better, so that you can make sure you don't have to lean your head over the side of the boat to look and see if you have water coming out, which is cool. The other thing is on this side, there's a little bit of turbulence as the water crosses this. So, oh my, that's interesting. That looks like that has a little bit of damage on it. That is interesting. Almost looks like there's a crack there. With boats, break out another 1,000. It's just kind of what you have to do. Now this boat has a very fancy prop on it. This actually has a Kubota 2-cylinder in it. That's a little bit loose, but it's not so bad. A lot tighter in the bushing department. A little bit of wiggle. This has a faster pitch prop, and it's also larger in diameter. You can see it's a little closer up there. So this prop pushes the boat very well with the higher torque of the 2-cylinder Kubota, as opposed to single-cylinder ferrymann. They're water-cooled, as I said. What else can we say about this excellent boat? I think we should go inside and we should look at tenacity and hull number 1. So here's the modified version. We call it our Turbo 10. With the transom cut out, makes it much easier to get up in the boat. We shortened the rudder tube, made a really cool tiller. We have changed it to having the radio back here, all the switches back here. We have this nice soft matting that's very grippy to stand on. We've modified somewhat the deck layout to better match the way that this boat is raced. So that's one, you can definitely take these boats and modify them to great success. Last year we took 3rd in class at Mackinac with this boat. That is impremus. That is hull number 1, the very first Tartan Ten ever made. We'll walk over to that right now. So I mentioned that this is hull number 1. This is the boat that was in all the brochures. I will put in a picture of it right here. So I'm pretty sure this is it. My dad had found some better documentation that actually had the boat's name on it. I can't find that right now, but I'm pretty sure that is impremus. And I think that this is too, just a better picture of it sailing. But I could be wrong on that because I can't find the one that I was particularly thinking of, but I'm sure I'll stumble across it. But it's been years and maybe a couple phones since we got impremus, and also since I had that document with me. It was hull number 1, the first one ever made, was called impremus, which means first of a series, which is a really cool name. I don't know what other names it's been called, but the last name it was called Old Joe when we got it, which is a terrible name. It was sitting in Menor Harbor forever. And it has been fully recored. We vacuum infused several parts of this boat. The mast step put back in, measured correctly, put in the right place, everything strengthened back up, all new interior in it. It's just waiting to get finally put back together. There's no stanchions on it. There's no holes in the deck to put anything. It'll have a brand new deck layout, and it can be totally configured the way we want to do it. Unfortunately, time has passed and we never finished it because 278 honestly proved to be an excellent race boat. So there's hull number 1. Someday I'd like to finish it. Maybe it'll be finished on the channel. You never know. If a lot of people are interested in Tartan Tens or in videos relating to Tartan Tens, you never know what might happen. One of the things we did on this boat is it has a bowsprit now. And that front area, I don't know if you can see, it's all been refabricated instead of the original design, where we tie in the structure right here and there. Right there is where the headstay tang bolts into the boat, and that's a weak point on them. So we've made it all one piece so the headstay will never fail. By never, I mean it sounds just like, what the heck is it called? Titanic never sinking, but it is very, very strong. The original setup looked like this, and the headstay tang just came up through this slot, and there was nothing really holding it down. So we have a very strong bow setup on this boat. This is a boat that we lost the mast on. Everything is still here. We didn't lose a single thing, not even a bolt. We took it all apart, but unfortunately a lot of the stanchions were damaged. This front pulpit was damaged, so we have a lot of fixing to do, but the boat is here and ready to get worked on. So this video is going to end kind of abruptly. I just towed the boat up back home tonight and finished the last leg of the journey. This past weekend we had the Blues Festival, and then I went down back to my dad's house to help him with some personal stuff and with getting him some chores done and all that good stuff to help him out. And then I just brought the boat back tonight. So there is another follow-up video of towing the boat home, which maybe some of you guys will like to tune into that. If you're still here, I appreciate it. If you have any interest in seeing, well, I hope you have interest in seeing more about the Tartan Tens. This one in particular, I'm looking forward to getting up on a ladder and seeing it for the first time myself on the inside and see what it came with and what the boat needs. That should be a whole can of worms to figure out, and hopefully we can get the ferryman started up and running on water and pushing water, and we'll go from there, and we'll see if we can get the boat. There's a chance we could splash the boat this year, but if not, we can at least get it totally sorted for next season.